going international here, I think in Europe, kicking game probably would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
Do you feel maybe the special teams kicking game maybe getting finally its respect due out here, just from the fans, how people will view the game on Sunday?
Sure, I think it's a big thing. Obviously, football here in Europe, and then we've got American football. Kicking the ball, whether it's punting or place kicking, is always a big thing. When we played over in Europe beforehand, or when I've coached in it, it seems like the biggest cheers have been when there's a punt or a kick. So we're excited to play. I know all of our guys are getting ready to go, so hopefully we can make a bunch of kicks, and our punts are going to be good, just like last week.
And Perk's question.
Okay.
Write-in question. He's doing something on Joe Cardona, so he wants to know what are the physical qualities you seek in a long snapper, if it's delivering the ball effectively, running downfield and punt coverage, etc., and also his leadership skills, just the whole nine.
Yeah, I think that goes unnoticed a lot. A lot of physical skills that Joe has, whether it's snapping or running downfield, making tackles. But the one thing that he's really brought over to our organization is leadership, whether it's with the younger guys, the rookies that come from colleges that don't really play on special teams. Now they have to play on special teams. So just having Joe and his leadership qualities have really helped out those young players. I know me personally, he comes up and meets with me a bunch, talks about certain things that he ends up seeing, which is greatly appreciated. You always like getting a second pair of eyes on things. So really enjoy working with Joe, and happy that he's here with us.
Now, do you want my perk question first, or do you want my question?
He just sent them all over the place, huh? Oh, my land. Let's go with yours, Omar, first.
Okay. I saw a play, I saw it yesterday, where a punter catches the ball, acts like he's going to punt it, throws it underhanded, 20 yards downfield, and the guy catches it and runs a touchdown. Like, one, have you seen anything like that? And two, where do you guys find these creative plays from?
Well, I think the best part about our job as special teams coordinators is we get an opportunity to look at every single game, and whether it's college or pro, we're always out there trying to find different things and different ways to do stuff, just being innovative and things like that. But, we're always scouring the internet for different things, trying to make things a little bit more exciting or just to help our team win. So that particular play I haven't seen yet, but I'm hoping to get that on the internet here pretty soon and try to find out if that can help us or not.
Okay. Now, to Perk's question, were you pleased with how they handled the onside kick, and why did the Bills use running back Ray Davis as the onside kicker, and whether you liked it or not?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I used it probably 4 or 5 years ago with a guy named Darren Bates, who's now coaching with the Carolina Panthers. When we saw 22 out there as a running back, we knew something was going to be different. And usually when that happens, when they have a different type of player kick that ball, we kind of knew it was going to be a bunt. So, that was one of the biggest things that we talked to Sed about when we saw 22 out there. Make sure you're aggressive, go attack the ball, because they had, around 4 or 5 guys that really were going to try to go and take his head off. So the biggest thing for Sed was to go attack the ball and just to get down on it. And he did an unbelievable job, and it was obviously a big part of the game. So we're really happy with Sed on how he did that.
Hi, Craig. I wanted to ask you about a play from the Bills game. We've seen punters who are punting toward the opposite end zone kick the ball in such a way that it rolls backward into the field of play rather than into the end zone. But the way Jake punted, I'm not sure I've ever seen a ball die the way this one did on the 2-yard line. I'm not going to ask you if he deflated the ball. It kind of looked like it. But what was going on there?
Yeah, Jake does an unbelievable job for us, whether it's on field punts or those plus 50 punts. This is a guy that's done this for his entire career. He's done a really good job of pinning opponents inside their 10-yard line, and that was just another great opportunity that he gave our defense to pin the ball inside the 2-yard line. For now, they're going to have to drive the length of the field. So really happy with Jake on what he's doing. He ended up taking a little bit off of his swing. As you can see, kind of did a little bit different on how he swung at that ball. Now, usually you don't get that type of bounce. Usually you get how the one bounce that ends up going backwards. But for him just to pin that ball right there on the 2-yard line was us playing complementary football that I know Mike talks about a lot. So it was really big for us in that point of the game that Jake ended up doing that.
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
Welcome to the city.
Thank you.
So Harry Kane, Bayern Munich striker, expressed himself interest to play in the NFL once he retires.
Okay.
Do you envision in the future like famous soccer players to play as a kicker in the NFL, and how can that benefit the league for the awareness throughout the world?
Sure, that's a great question. In fact, most of our place kickers are soccer players in their younger years too. Starting out, even my kids played soccer when they were in San Diego, and then when they transitioned to Nashville. But yeah, there's plenty of place kickers right now, or even punters that started out with soccer players. I'd love to work out any of the players that want to end up place kicking because obviously they're very talented players that can do a lot of different things. And even now, Australians, different type of nationalities, they're all doing different types of things as far as kicking the football. So I'd love to work with any type of player that wants to kick or punt.
Thank you.
Coach, I actually have 2 questions. I want to follow up on that.
One with Chris, or is
What-
that
no,
part of
no,
Chris
no,
too?
no, no,
Okay,
no. To follow up on that, have you ever scouted just a soccer player or a rugby player who had no football experience in your past?
Yeah, in college, when I was coaching in college, a lot of different kickers or punters come from Australia. So I did some scouting with that in college, which is now a huge thing that goes on. I think, I don't know the percentages, but I know there's plenty of Australian punters in the United States right now.
And considering where we're at, I think you walk out of that stadium, it's kind of a pinch me moment. Do you ever look and think about your journey and how crazy it is, the places football takes you?
Oh, I pinch myself all the time. It is truly a blessing to be in the National Football League. We don't take anything for granted. I know myself or my family. It's always interesting. I grew up in a small farm town community. I graduated with 46 people in my school. So, for me to be here in Madrid, Spain, it's crazy. I talk to my dad all the time about what this journey has taken me to. So, yeah, I never take it for granted, and it's always unbelievable just going out here and looking at the stadium and how beautiful it is. I couldn't ask for anything better.
Riley Patterson's extra point missed. What went wrong on that one?
Yeah, just a mishit from him. It's just one of those things that happens sometimes. I can't really say if it was a plant leg or anything. I just asked him right afterwards, hey, you okay? What happened? He's just like, Coach, I just mishit it. And my whole thing is anytime something happens, whether it's a make or a miss, it's always on to the next play. And Riley did an unbelievable job making his field goal afterwards.
So we're trying to explain football to new fans of the NFL. How would you explain the special teams to a new NFL fan?
Well, very different, obviously, than offense and defense. We talk a lot of things about complementary football and helping out our offense and defense, punting, kicking, things like that. It is different because we're using our foot instead of throwing the ball and things like that. So I would say one of the biggest things that changes is how we can flip the field, whether it be a 50 or 60-yard field goal or a 50 or 60-yard punt, that could end up changing field position. It's a great question.
To follow through with that, since you're the expert on kicking in the NFL, what is the real football?
Oh. You know what, and you'll have to pardon my ignorance. I'll tell you a great story because when I lived in San Diego, my oldest son was playing youth football, and I didn't really know much about it, other than a goalkeeper and scoring goals and things like that. Well, my son would go and score a bunch of goals. I was all happy and stuff. Well, then he started getting into more competitive football. And, obviously there's positions, whether it's attacker or midfielder and all these stuffs that I was learning. And I went to a game, and my son was just staying in one position, and I was getting upset. And I'm like, go get the ball. You know, I'm yelling at it because obviously I'm a coach. And my wife looks at me, and she's like, Craig, shut your mouth. Like, they actually have positions now, and they just can't go and run and try to score goals. So I had to learn a few different things on how to be a defender and how to be an attacker and stuff like that. So, you know, I think when we're over in Europe, it's football. When we're over in the United States, it's American football.
I know Jalen Lane over there has a punt return that he returned for a touchdown this season. How dangerous is he, and what will it take to corral him?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I watched him throughout the draft process, one of my really good friends is a special teams coordinator there at Virginia Tech, and I spent a lot of time talking to him about him. Just a very good dual returner, dangerous, had a really high productive career there at Virginia Tech. So it doesn't shock me at all that he's doing really well for the Commanders. That 90-yard return that he had against Las Vegas, really explosive play, made a guy miss in space, and then obviously you could see his speed. So we're going to have our hands full. We got to do a great job punting him with our coverage to corral him.